Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a new StarCraft II Heart of the Swarm video. Today we have a little bit of a different thing because Blizzard recently announced a few potential balance changes that they might happen. And to be fair, most of the time whenever they say potential, they will actually be pretty much introduced into the game within a few weeks. So let's have a look at the actual balance changes. So here is the actual article. I actually put a link to this one as well, right below that like button in the description of this video. So if you want to read it for yourself, you can obviously just do that. Okay, so this is what the article says. Since most recent ladder season began, we've heard an enormous amount of feedback on Protoss strength. While the results data we're getting isn't so clear due to not as many tournaments going on these days, we do agree that other races can't go on offense as easily as we like to see against Protoss early on. As we prepare this next balance test map, we'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Okay, so these are the balance changes that they're proposing. The first one, we're gonna discuss them in order. The first one is going to be Photon overcharge duration decreased from 60 to 40. We believe that the Mothership Core is a very well-rounded unit. We'd like the early aggression options that the Mothership Core provides, such as being able to recall back at the right moments, but we wonder whether the defensive nature of the Mothership Core can be tuned down a little bit. We'd like to see more options for Terran and Zerg to attack, skirmish or harass a Protoss player who plays defensively. Okay, so the Photon overcharge is basically a big cannon that you can use the Mothership Core and you can actually just spend a little bit of energy on the Mothership Core, use it on the Nexus and it will start shooting things, okay? That's basically what the Mothership Cannon does. Now they're gonna nerf this one from 60 to 40 seconds, at least that's what it proposed changes for now. Now honestly, I think this is a little bit too strong as well, especially in Terran versus Protoss, because whenever a Terran player moves out versus a Protoss player, and the Protoss player has a very tight build order, which obviously all the pro gamers have, they will simply be able to probably defend with the units that they have, which is usually not very much at all, and the Mothership Cannon. Now, obviously with this change, they will basically be able to attack 20 seconds earlier for the second wave of attacks than they can do right now. Now the thing with this is that I do like the fact that they acknowledge that it's a little bit strong early on. I don't really like the change where they actually nerf it for about 20 seconds. What I would like to see much rather, because I do agree that the Mothership Core is a little bit too strong early on, is that maybe they actually nerf the speed of the Mothership Core. So what happens right now is that you can actually move out with the Mothership Core and you can actually get back home in time to defend against anything, pretty much. The same thing happens in Zerg versus Protoss as well, where the Zerg player goes for a little bit of an aggressive option. For example, he goes for a lot of Roaches, and the Mothership Core is flying across the map with a Stalker and a Zealot. Now, what happens currently is that whenever you try and get the Roaches to the other side of the map, the Mothership Core will already be able to fly home in time and put up the Mothership Cannon as well. What would be better, I think at the very least, is that if they nerf the speed, the Protoss actually need to make a very difficult choice whether or not they want to move out with it. Now obviously, Protoss should still have the option to move out, but it would be a lot safer all around for a Zerg player to go for an aggressive option early on, without the Mothership Core being able to just blindly defend most of the aggression, and the same goes for Terran versus Protoss as well. Another thing that I think would be awesome on the Mothership Core is actually just straight up nerf the amount of energy that the Mothership Core has. Right now it has a ton of energy, so what we could do is actually make sure it still has 2 time warps available, which it does have right now currently, but that it does not have 2 Photon overcharges available. So what could happen right now, for example, is that if you harass in the main base with Mutalisks, they can put up the Photon overcharge right there, and if you actually try to run into the natural, they can also put up the Photon overcharge right there in the natural as well. I think that would be a much better change than actually just, you know, just removing or rather reducing the amount of time that a Mothership Cannon is happening, but, you know, I like to see the changes all in all, but I just wish they were a little bit more creative with the way they would approach this sort of a problem. The same actually goes for a little bit of the other change, so let's actually have a look at it. The Roach burrow movement speed to 2.25. Of the various changes we made in the last balance patch, where they basically made the Roach burrow a whole lot faster, this one seems to be the one that didn't do much. We rarely see any Roach burrow move games, and we'd like to bump this up a bit more to see if we, you know, can see it more. Considering the few games we did see the strategy being used, they were really fun and different compared to the other strategies that Zerg players used. Perhaps we can move it in small taps in order to see some more burrow move speed usage in various matchups. Okay, now this is the one thing that I really disagree with, okay? Roach burrow is good. Roach burrow is fast right now, but the problem with Roach burrow is that you actually need to dedicate yourself to it. And it might sound a little bit tricky, but right now whenever you get to lair tech, you get the options either I go for Hydralisk or I go for Roach speed or something like that. The whole problem is that going for Hydralisk is actually faster than going for burrowed roaches. Now, burrowed roaches are obviously strong, they're pretty good, but in most situations, the Hydralisk is just a better all-round unit. In what situation would you really use Roach Burrow if you have a Roach Hydra army? Well, if you have a Roach Hydra army and you're up against a Protoss player that has Colossus or whatever, you don't really want to burrow those roaches at all because they soak up the damage that would otherwise go on top of the Hydralisk. So whenever you play a Roach Hydra, you will basically not really do any kind of burrow play whatsoever. Now, the way that burrow play is useful, however, is if it's a certain timing attack. At least that's what I've seen so far. It's a certain timing attack where the Zerg actually lines up burrow, they line up burrow movement, they line up roach speed, and then they will actually try and burrow with massive amounts of roaches. So that's basically pure roach kind of play. Now, moving up the speed is going to be nice, but I don't think that will actually make the roaches any more viable in any of the matchups, really, to be fair. What I do think would change a ton is if they somehow, some way, just actually merge the movement speed with the burrow upgrade that is available in the hatchery tech right now. The problem with everything is basically for the same cost that you can get burrow, you can also get your Hydralisk Den up. And for 90% of the Zerg players, they will pretty much always choose the Hydralisk Den over the burrow. I think if they would somehow merge the burrow upgrade with the movement speed upgrade, or maybe just make the movement upgrade for free and just nerf the speed a little bit, I think it would be a lot better. Maybe even delay or lengthen the time that a burrow research takes. So it can actually, you know, you can't just straight up kill your opponent with a silly timing attack, but it would make it a lot more valuable. Other than that, the patch doesn't say very much. It says we believe we can push mech usage more as well. You know, the next step for the Terran mech. Some options we're looking into are higher armored damage for siege tanks, easier access to EMP when going for mech, buffing mech air, and so on. However, this is the area in which we are least certain. Detailed feedback based on good reasoning is greatly appreciated. So there's not too many changes other than those two. I hope you like my thoughts on it. If you have any thoughts as well, please keep them right below that like button. Feel free to post a comment and I will love to read your feedback. Well, thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a new game of StarCraft II Heart of the Swarm. Yeah!